Happy Friday to everybody. Uh, Hang on. Drop my water. Hope you guys are getting used to the heat. It's getting hot today. Anyway, I wanted just to make this brief. It's Friday, end of our second week. Hopefully, now most of you have gotten the textbook. So next week, I'll start assigning readings. Why don't you just read the first chapter? Take some notes. Are we covering everything in those chapters? No, we aren't. We don't have time. But I might be testing you on it. So please do look at it. I've had some people concerned or trying to figure out why we're writing about modern playwrights when we should be writing about things from the way past. Well, there's a reason that I assigned the assignments this week. And the main reason is what's going on in the world right now with Black Lives Matter movement. This is a humanities class, and we got to move with the humanities. I don't want to talk about old ancient history when history is happening right in front of us. And so if I can make it relevant to what's going on in front of us, I will. And so even though going back and studying old plays from Shakespeare's time to Eugene O'Neill's time is very, very important. I wanted to bring it up to the present day. That's why I have you guys looking at these African-American playwrights. You're going to write about one of them. And the other thing is, someone said, well, what about the discussion? What does Shakespeare have to do with the discussion of what's going on right now? Well, I'm going to explain. If you watch Peter Brook's Hamlet, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Watch as much as you possibly could tolerate and start commenting on it. And, if you've noticed, there's a black man playing Hamlet. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at here? It's connecting the dots. Does it matter that he's black? Does it add to the story? Does it add to the fact that he's an outsider and the other? Yes, it does. And he did that production 20 years ago. That's not a new production. I picked that production specifically because it's stripped down. Peter Brooks always gets rid of all the phony sets, the costuming, and he strips the story down to the essence of what is really going on. Now, you might have to Google Spark Notes on Hamlet, what the story is, to understand what's going on. And I don't expect you to get the whole thing, especially if you're new to Shakespeare. I just expect you to experience it and these trying times we're living through. Think about the trying times Hamlet was living through. And that's why I chose that production of Hamlet, not some of the others. And there's been many, many, many where there's been other Hamlets. Been very few black Hamlets, though. And that's one of them. And I think the guy does a great job. And you really have to listen to the words and the poetry, the language, because they're not going to give it to you with the costumes or sword fights, all the rest, even though that's in there somewhat. So that's what I'm about. That's why they're connected. And why I'm going to try to connect. It's really important to look what's going on in the world right now and try to connect the dots to our history. And so, and that's shows the connected tissue. And that's what's really important. Just because they weren't having riots in the streets in Shakespeare's time, and they were having riots, by the way, is over different issues. But I wanted to make sure that you could see the dots, how they connect from Shakespeare's time to modern times to right now, which I guess you would call postmodern times. So that's where I'm coming from on that one. Like I say, if you have the textbook, great. Read that first chapter. We'll be talking about that next week. We're already through week 2. You know what you have to do. You're writing a research paper about one of the African-American playwrights, and you're going to do a good job, a thorough job. You're not going to just give me a thumbnail Wikipedia sketch of when they were born and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to read that. I want you guys to do a little bit of research on them. You have to look at YouTube, do some online research, maybe see some excerpts, an interview with them on YouTube. That's up to you. The more you put into it, the better your paper will be. Um, are those people in the textbook? No, they aren't. But if you notice on your syllabus, it says syllabus is subject to change and so I change it all the time because humanities, like life itself, is fluid. It's ongoing, and the history's changing every minute. And so I want to make sure we're capturing the moment, and you're actually be able to equate it with the past. And so when you see, and later on next week, whenever we start doing artists, painters, from Michelangelo to Rembrandt to Picasso to Warhol, you'll see how to Basquiat things are connected. And so don't get discouraged because you don't see maybe Basquiat in the textbook. We're free forming. We're outside the text. The text is a ground, kind of a thumbnail ground historical sketch that will help you put this stuff in perspective historical wise, like you did with the last essay, which I'm not done grading yet, but I'm almost done. It takes me about a week to grade these things. I love how some of you said, well, when I started writing this paper about Martin Luther, I didn't know anything about him. Good. That's what education's about. I don't expect you to know anything about most of these people. That's what's called learning. You shouldn't know everything, you know, however old you are. And that's what education's all about. You learn, you're opening your eyes to new things. And you open your eyes to Martin Luther. I love what a lot of you said. Some of you, I felt, didn't watch the documentary. That I could kind of tell when you don't watch the documentary, because it seems like you're giving me a thumbnail bio that you've possibly gone offline, Google search, or Wikipedia, and you'll lose some points on that. I'm looking for you to look at that documentary and give me your impressions of what you saw, what you learned, what you didn't learn, what was confusing, everything. I want you to look at those documentaries. If we were in class, we'd be doing that and you'd be taking notes, but we're not. So I've got to trust you guys to go on YouTube and watch this stuff. It's up to you. And I can usually tell, and I'll say in the comment, I said, did you really watch the documentary? It doesn't look like you watched the documentary. Please do watch it, because that's what I want your opinion based on, and your critical analysis. Now, someone I've already seen in the discussion, someone said, well, I don't like this version of Hamlet. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm not asking you to give me a review. I'm just asking you to look at it critically and analyze, why do you think they're doing it the way they're doing it? Do you understand the story? Do you understand the language? Is it understandable? Is it not? But I'm not asking for a review of it. I give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm wanting you guys to get to the core of one Shakespearean play that is probably the most famous of all the Shakespearean play, and that's Hamlet. To be or not to be. I'm going to ask you right now, what do you think that means? What possible meaning do you give to that simple line, to be or not to be? Maybe that's all you need to discuss in the discussion. That's fine. Tell me what you think. And you might have to Google what critics think, but what does it make you think? How do you feel about it? Have you even got to that part yet? Anyway, so that's what you're doing in the discussion. And the discussion is part of your attendance. I pay attention to the discussions. I mark your little names down, and I put a check on it to see if you're discussing. And yes, that'll go towards your final grade. Also, someone said they're still confused about the journal. Simply a diary. Maybe you've all know what a diary is. I hope you do. You're writing what you were doing each week. This week, we're doing playwrights. We're discussing Peter Brooks's Hamlet. I didn't get it. I love it. I hate it. That's what I want in the reflection. 2 sentences. I discovered some great things by researching August Wilson. This is what I found out about African-American writers, playwrights in this country. This is something I learned. So you're not just telling me what you're doing. Like I researched August Wilson. I wrote a paper. Yes, okay. What did you get out of it? Do a reflection. That's what it's called. Give me some critical analysis of what you've got out of it. And there's no right or wrong answer. I don't expect you to go, I got this out of it. That's the perfect thing. There is no perfect thing. But I want you to get something out of it. And when you give it just one sentence, 2 sentences of what did you get out of researching Susan Laurie Parks, or August Wilson? I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't learn anything. It's a waste of time. Fine, write that in there. Or I learned something, like I learned with Martin Luther. I learned a lot. I didn't know Martin Luther was such an important part in our history about our religion in this world we live in. So that's what I'm looking for in the reflection. I will definitely put up a sample I'll do that soon in the announcements. You'll be able to look what one of these looks like. Here's what you do. In a Word document or a PDX, you're typing it in. Don't, type what your thoughts in for the week. Week 2, this is what I did. It's 3 or 4 sentences. This is what I got out of it. 2 sentences. There you go. A paragraph and you're done. And by the end of the time, you'll have 6 or 7 of those entries for each week we're here. And then you're going to upload it to assignments. I'm not putting that on there now because I don't want you to upload it yet. It's too soon. You won't upload that to the very last week. We're in the semester, okay? I will put a example online. Hopefully I do it today. Anyway, so look forward to an announcement. So it'll say sample of journal reflection. You'll know exactly how it looks. It'll look different than yours because we're doing this class a little differently. This is a condensed class. It's summer school. It's 6 weeks. Normally this thing goes on for 17 weeks. So we're doing a condensed version. So this week, the first week was introduction, kind of general. Then we did, this week is theater. Next week, I'm not sure what I'll do next week. Possibly painters, artists. That's probably what I'll do. I won't know until Sunday night when I go back and look at my notes. But that's where we are at this point in time. Personally, if I was you, I'd be making these entries daily or weekly. It's up to you. So you don't forget them and have them in a file. And so at the end of the time, you're done. You can upload it to, don't wait till the last minute and try to do it all from memory. You will not make it. And it's worth 10 points. And it might come in handy to have it. Some people don't hand in a journal. But let's remember, the class is only worth, I forgot which, 125 points. And 10 points knocks you from an A to a B. So if you don't hand it in, you're not going to get an A, period. You got to hand in all the assignments to get an A. So if you don't think you need to hand it in, then you won't get the amount of points you need. Plus, I learned from your reflection and journals. It's a way for me to tell that you've paid attention, that you've looked at the material, you got something out of the material, and it tells me, it lets me know if I can do a better job on presenting the material. If someone in their journal says, I just don't get it, I don't understand it, he's not explaining it right, it's still too vague for me, then I learn from that. And you can be critical, it's okay. Just don't make fun of my headband or my sunglasses, which I'm not wearing right now, or my wardrobe, because a lot of people do, that's okay. But that's fine. But that's what the journal should look like in the reflection. And don't forget the reflection part. I read them all. And yes, I can read them quickly. I skim them. And if I don't see reflection, you'll lose points. If I just see journal entries with no reflection, you'll lose points for no reflection. And I'll say, where's the reflection? So please reflect on this stuff. Put some critical analysis on what you got out of the week. And it's okay if it's not positive. I'm not looking for a thumbs up or a thumbs down or thumbs on the side. I'm looking for you to be paying attention and give me feedback. And you get graded for it, okay? How easy is that? So right now, I'm telling you to look at the discussion. Look who's playing Hamlet. This is Black Awareness Week. Black Lives Matter. We're surrounded by it. Doesn't matter. You agree with it. You hate it. Doesn't matter. It's what's historically going on, even in Reading. Every major city in the world, Rome, London, they're all protesting police treatment in this country, not in their own countries, this country, of how we treat the other. I'm not asking for your political beliefs, if you agree with it or you don't agree with it. I'm just saying, look at it. It's what's happening historical. And so there's a Black Hamlet. Look at that. What do you think about it? How does it make you feel? Does it help the material? Does it elevate the material? Does it lower the material? Does it matter? Women have played Hamlet. Do we have to have a man playing Hamlet? Same thing with these African-American playwrights. Why are we doing that? Because right now we're in the middle of what looks like a game-changing historical change in America. The fact that racism runs rampant in everything we do, job hiring, even when it comes to shopping. And if you're somebody of a different color than white, you know what I'm talking about. You experience it every day. Asian, Hispanic, African Americans, they experience the eyes of people looking at them and judging them by simply the skin tone. And so it's important to look at these playwrights because that's what they're writing about. It's universal. The other, if you've been the other, you know what I'm talking about. And that means you could be transgendered, you could be from Cuba or South America, you could be from China. You are the other in most people's eyes. That's changing, hopefully. And it's changing right now. And so I want you guys to be aware of it. And so when you're writing about these people, it's okay to write about what's going on right now. Okay? On that happy note, TGIF, it's Friday. Have an enjoyable weekend. It's going to be 105. I went out to the lake last night, swam Whiskey Town Lake. The water's beautiful, by the way. Maybe have a kayak and a boat. Go out on it this weekend and relax. Do your homework. And remember when the due dates are due. It's all the assignments. The assignments tell you when the due dates are due. You should be aware what Canvas is by now. People keep emailing me, well, when's it due? Well, look at Canvas. It's all there. It's all right. Some of you are new to college. Some of you are new to Canvas. I get it. But everything is on Canvas. Look at the assignments. See when they're due. See how many points they're worth. See when the cutoff date is. And I did change it this time because I had a lot of complaints last time that a lot of times people are telling you that midnight on Monday is the due date. So I made it midnight to make it, uniform to what's going on to a lot of other classes. So get your paper in by midnight Monday or forever hold your peace and have an enjoyable weekend. Stay safe. Keep distancing, folks. This pandemic is not over. We had another 2 cases in Reading or Shasta County just yesterday. So it's because people traveling are coming into Reading now, and essentially that's where it's coming from. So be careful out there, and if it says wear a mask, wear a mask. Other than that, that's it. I hope you're getting something out of this class. Hope you're enjoying it. It shouldn't be torture. Humanities is who we are. Why don't you express who you are? And where do you fit into the scheme of what's going on in humanities at this point in time? Put that in your paper Put that in your discussions, and you'll do just fine. Anyway, like I say, write strong, write honest, meaning don't copy things, don't copy and paste anything, don't steal from anybody, and write the truth. And that's not easy to do. It's hard. But keep struggling for it because it's worth it. And on that happy note, peace out.